Welcome to NEXTGames High Tier Mission Battlefield series. Today, covering the new battlefield of the Orbs Radiance. Now this battlefield offers very powerful new rewards that most will want, so similar to Maiden of Dusk and the Worm God, you may be spending a bit of time on this one, but fortunately the drop rate for all of the accessories is pretty good at any of the difficulties. So it's only the mask that you're going to need to grind runs to acquire, and you can do it on many jobs. Now this video is the fourth and final example in the series showing how to take this run on. Now in this final example, I show how people on damage dealing jobs can take this run on. Today, I'll be doing it on my Dragoon, but it really should work on most melee jobs, such as Warrior and Samurai, as long as you have your damage reduction capped. First though, let's talk about what this fight looks like. Now this fight itself is against the Cloud of Darkness that has several abilities. Now Sealing Rapture is a conal ability that will do darkness damage, inflict max hit points down, bind you, and knock you back. Destitution is a conal ability that will inflict max hit points down and terrorize you. Essence Devour is another conal ability that will drain hit points and magic points from everyone that it hits, and will also give anyone it hits attribute down for 30 seconds. Now due to all of these conal abilities, you want to be sure to be facing the cloud away from your trust at all times. Now the final normal ability that you're going to see is called Shearing Undulation, which will inflict defense down and magic defense down on whoever it hits for 60 seconds, and it is an AoE ability. Now in addition to these abilities, the cloud doesn't attack with normal attacks. Instead, one of 3 special attacks will occur in each attack round. The first is an AoE damage and knockback ability. The second attack is a ranged attack, and the third is a special attack that will reduce the TP of anyone it hits by 25%. Now these attacks aren't much risk to you, but they will continually wipe your shadows and inflict damage to your trust if they are around and hit with it, so keep these things in mind when it comes to your strategy and positioning. The cloud is also going to cast many spells, including Absorb Attribute spells, AoE Drain spells, and Elemental Magic spells. Now above 50%, it's going to be things like Elemental 4 Magic and Ga 3 spells, but under 50%, it's going to move up to Elemental 5 Magic, Ga 4 Magic, and Ja spells, which can be more dangerous, especially after Shearing Undulation lowers your magic defenses. Now once the cloud reaches 80% health, he will use Primordial Surge, which drains hit points from all players and draws them into the boss. You just saw it used there. Now once he uses this, his eyes are going to start glowing, and he will start absorbing either all physical or magic damage. And you want to keep your standard melee attacks going after he uses this ability to see if they start to heal him. Now if those attacks don't start curing him, that means he's absorbing magic damage, so continue getting your damage in, being sure not to skill chain. Now if those standard melee attacks do start curing him, it means he's absorbing physical damage. You need to turn around immediately and wait for the use of his next ability, which will stop him absorbing damage, and it will also be signified when his eyes stop glowing. So wait till you see those eyes stop glowing before you turn back around again if he's absorbing physical damage. Now you can do magic damage if you have access to it while he's absorbing physical damage, or just kind of wait and use that time to rebuff yourself. Now one of the abilities that he has a chance to use once coming out of Primordial Surge is called Waning Vigor. Now this will inflict AoE damage based on how much damage he absorbed after the use of Primordial Surge. It's also going to imply weakness to anyone it hits, and it is an AoE ability once again. Now this can be a deadly move if you have cured him extensively during the Primordial Surge phase, so be sure to pay attention when those eyes start to glow. Now the second ability used after Primordial Surge is going to summon a random farmer ad, and each ability after that will continue to summon an additional ad until 6 have been summoned on the easy difficulty and 3 have been summoned on very easy. Now each job type of these farmers will have a different aura affecting anyone in the range of them. Fortunately, none of these auras will pose much of a risk to you other than 2. The first is the Dark Knights, whose aura will give you an encumbrance and lock you into the gear that you're presently in place with until he is defeated. Now if you happen to get locked into place to a gear set that you don't like, go ahead and run out of range from him for just a few seconds so that you can change into the gear set you do want, normally a TP gear set with high damage down, and then you can continue fighting him again where it's going to lock you back into that set. Now, the second farmer job type that you want to watch out for is Warrior. And that's because he's going to give you a strong attack penalty, making your weapon skills hit for a fraction of their potential damage, and making all the damage you do to both the main boss and any nearby farmers significantly less. So you want to take him out right away, right along with that Dark Knight if they happen to spawn. Now, under 25% health, the Cloud will also gain access to Expunge, which is an AoE ability that will strip all buffs from everyone it hits and will also inflict damage based on how much was absorbed during the last Primordial Surge phase. When this ability goes off, can create some of the riskiest times of the fight, so be ready for it under 25% health, and if it happens to you, try and buy yourself and your trust time to rebuff everyone. This includes putting up things like shadows or even kiting if necessary. So what kind of strategy do we use to take this one on? Well, first let's go over trust selection. I find that regardless of the job I use, this run is much easier if I'm tanking myself as opposed to using a tanking trust, as using them will often leave your trust in the way of many AoE abilities and possible conal abilities, and also they can't really control where it's facing, so you have to try and dictate that for them, which often doesn't really go very well. Additionally, they often die not even halfway through the run, again negating of their purpose of even being here. Therefore, I suggest you just plan on tanking this entire fight yourself. I'd recommend then using your Haste Cap Trust along with two solid healers, such as Yoran Oran and Monborough or Yoran Oran and Kupipi, and then using Sethtas to continually restore HP, MP, and TP to the party, since this fight can take quite a bit of time, especially if you intend on killing all of the farmers that spawn during your run. Now when the fight first starts, you want to pull the Cloud to the side in a space where you can get your damage in, and your trust can still heal and buff you, but still be out of the range of the conal abilities and many of the AoE attacks. You want to try and position yourself also so that if you get knocked back, you are still within attack range of the Cloud. Once you do this, get your damage in the best way you can. All forms of damage will do well, so everything from a 2-step skill chain spam to 5-step Radiant skill chain spam with Magic Burst will work well. I will say Savage Blade spam also works well in this run. You want to quickly take the boss past 80% health, and then keep getting damage in the best way you can during Primordial Surge, and the following ability. Now once he starts summoning adds, you have a choice. You can choose to just keep blitzing your damage as quickly as you can in hopes that you can kill him before him and his army of adds overwhelm you, and the trust, or you can kill the adds as they spawn until all 3 or 6 of them are dead, and then just refocus on the Cloud and finish off the fight. Now if you're on the very easy difficulty, it's fairly easy to manage all 3 adds and finish off the boss before they take out any trust, but on easy it can definitely be more challenging to deal with all 6 while finishing off that boss, and it carries much more risk. Now in today's example, we are once again tanking ourselves, this time using Dragoon. Now the keys here are to cap your damage reduction since you'll be tanking, and you also want to cap your haste to get in as much damage as possible. Other than that, just try to keep the Cloud away from your trust and take out the 3 spawn farmer as they spawn. You will find that on damage dealing jobs, you can deal with the adds and Cloud much faster, but you and your trust will also find yourselves in much more danger during the highly damaging abilities and when farmers spawn, so be sure to pay close attention and be fast when swapping to those spawn farmers. And after the nasty abilities are used, be ready to kite a bit to buy your trust time if necessary. Also keep in mind that since you're being able to do so much damage, that if you heal him after a Primordial Surge and he uses one of the abilities that reflects all of the damage that he's absorbed back to you, you could be in for some trouble. So again, make sure you're paying attention. I'm using Sethtas to continually restore HP and MP to the party, Arcelia and Olmia for haste cap, and Monborough and Yoran Oran for healing. But Kupipi can be used in place of Monborough if you don't have him yet, since Sethtas will continually be restoring MP to all of your mages. Now these runs normally go pretty fast and only take me 7 to 9 minutes, making for much faster runs than on Red Mage and Thief on this difficulty. I hope you found these strategies helpful. Thanks so much for watching everyone. We'll see you next time.